All right, thank you everyone for joining us, and we really appreciate the time you've come to spend with us today. We understand that you're very busy. We understand that you have a lot to do, but your interest and your hunger have driven you um, to our training today, and we'll try as much as possible to see how far we can go in helping you to build your skills, your knowledge, and your capacity when it comes to data and analytics. And one thing I would like you to take from here, even if you're just spending just 2 minutes with us, is that anything is possible in the world of data. So, and of recent, I'm telling you my own personal secret of recent, so I do a lot of training, personal training, and whenever whatever comes to the time of a consultant, you charge for it. So sometimes I'm always feeling that, sure, but although you spent your time to learn this thing, why can't you teach people things for free? And I said that no, I would have loved to teach people for free, which is what I'm doing now. But there is something about your time you've invested to learn one or two things, right? And there is nothing stopping you from harvesting from that time you've spent. And especially when people are meeting you for one-on-one conversation. And there are some experience that I can share on a one-on-one talk, but I might not be able to share on a general talk, maybe because the time won't permit and all those things. So that is what I want you to bring to this Excel training. Actually, it's free, but if you can invest your enough time into it, I can tell you, you will get more than enough to start your data and analytics career and journey. But I know we'll always find more. And the first thing I would like to start with is remember, we are a group of people who are professionals in data and AI, right? We maybe later we've not been privileged to build any data analytics tool ourselves. So what that simply means is that the tool you'll be learning, especially Excel, is we are users like you, right? And if we can get that understanding, it means whatsoever you're saying, we learned it in one way or the other, which makes it easier and simpler for you also to learn. And today we'll be going through some resources I always reach out to, especially when I'm doing anything complex. And um, I know it's a Yoruba adage, but I don't know how to put it. But the main thing is that nobody can tell the story like the owner of the story. So that's what will be leading us to the first foundational source for Excel, which is the Microsoft resources. And I'll be sharing my screen now just to let you see how you can navigate to these resources, even from your Excel screen. Yes, so I'll be sharing my screen now. Please confirm you can see my screen. I can't see myself. Yeah. All
Yes.
right, good. Yes, all right, thank you. So if you can see my screen, the first thing, which is the foundational thing, everybody know about Excel. I will still be talking about Excel, just like trying to understand why it is important you learn and the benefit that is there for you if you learn it. And I think, okay, let's discuss that first. So, I was mentioning the resources I use to do most of my learning, and a good resource I will recommend for you is W3 Schools. And I was thinking of making slides, but I thought of it, why duplicating effort when it's already available online? So we just go to W3 Schools, we look at their Excel introduction, and we try to get ourselves familiarized with Excel. Later during the course, I'll be coming here to pick on one or two functions and we can show you. And you can see what Excel is being used for: data analytics, that's analysis, data entry, data management, accounting, budgeting. And I remember Iduri telling you some organizations are based on Excel. Yes, that's it. A lot of organization. I remember working with an investment company. Towards the end of the year, we always do the budgeting. and I was opportune to work at the finance department. So you will sit with Excel, you will see all those functions flying up and down. The main thing is that everything is where? In Excel. And that's what we go to the CEO, CFO, everybody will be jumping up and down on, on what happened in Excel. So you can do data analytics. And for someone that is using Python, a good news of recent, Python has found its way into Excel. So, and you can do programming. I think that's the part of, you can do programming and you can do visual and graph. Yes, you can build a whole chart, analytics dashboard in Excel and programming. Yes, this one, Excel has its own foundational programming language, which is called VBA. So that Visual Basic. And I've seen solutions developed in Excel. No, as in solutions. So, I saw someone say, oh, I know 70% of Excel. I said, wow. I was scared because even me, the last time I said 70%, they asked me VLOOKUP and I was looking at them. So that's just by the side. So, and you can do financial modeling in Excel. All the financial models of organizations, it always starts in Excel. Once they are able to test and validate the result, that's when you can move it to any financial modeling systems. So anything and the beauty is that every data analytics, even data science, all those things, concepts are developed in Excel. If you can't understand it in Excel, my brother, anything you are doing, you're on your own. Because even the CFO, CEO, they will ask you, okay, now that you've developed your model, how are you validating your results? Can you show me historically the performance? All those performance, you won't be showing them in Python. You will have to say, okay, what do you say? Is that for me? Okay, so you will have to show them in Excel, and that's why Excel is important. So let's see why it's good you learn how to use Excel. And like I said, we are starting from the foundational basics today, and with time, we'll be going to the complex and advanced side. And one is the most popular spreadsheet program, and I hope we know that we have other spreadsheet program like Google Sheets and all those things too. So they are called spreadsheet program. Very easy to learn. So this is not a matter of, oh, I've been in a particular career path for long. Oh, this Excel is not for me. No, it is for everyone. So very easy to learn, and the skill ceiling is high. So the meaning of it is that as long as you keep learning, you get better, and you only stop getting better the moment you conclude in your heart that you're satisfied. So everything is in your hand, and it can be used for your work, right? Office, organizations, and you can use it for your everyday life. For example, creating your simple family budget or giving yourself goals, setting your goals, whereby you think, oh, this one I've been able to meet it. And that's how you build your competency using Excel. And we have huge community support. It is continuously being supported by Microsoft. Is one tool that Microsoft cannot. I can even remember the current CEO selling Microsoft Excel. So that's Satya, I forgot, Satya, right? Yes, selling Excel. Then was it not 1993? So I saw that one. I said, you understand. So you should know that is a tool that is that have made even Microsoft, that big organization, Microsoft. And there is a lot of templates and frameworks that you can reuse. And that's what we'll be seeing from Excel environment. Yes, so I think enough of words. So let's go into our system. The first thing, select your Windows and look for Excel. I can see mine, but I like going this route. So once you select Excel, it opens up, hopefully. So I'm using Microsoft 365, and I will dwell a bit here, right? And the reason why I will be dwelling here is that, remember, this is your Excel environment. And even within this Excel environment, Microsoft is telling you that we can start training you on how to use Excel. So to some extent, well, You don't need training that much, as long as you have access to these tools. So everything you need to some extent is within this tool itself, right? So if you say, okay, this is my first time of seeing Excel, and I don't know how to navigate or do anything. So they are telling you, welcome to Excel. So here on this page, you can even take a simple tour, right? And start using your Excel. So we'll be going there, and you can see there are other templates that you can just um, select, look at it, and see if it talks to what you want to do. Maybe you want to develop sales invoice tracker, project tracker. Maybe you are the project manager in your organization and you want to start using Excel, employee asset schedule. So maybe you are a coordinator in healthcare service, and you're coordinating people. So you can start using Excel to draw your schedule of the people reporting to you that, okay, this person is going on leave. These are the two people that will be available. You understand? And like that, you can with peace put it on your CV that you're using Excel for your activities. And you're like, you can tell yourself analyst, healthcare analyst, because you're analyzing data of people that are coming to office or not. You understand? So you can see that as a template. And business plan checklist. So you can also use this to start your business. So if you're thinking of any form of business, you can always start from Excel. So you can see we are even only at the first page of Excel. We've not gone into Excel, but at least you can see the resources that are available for you. And all these resources, they have categories. Yes, and you can go to list, budget, chart. If you want to start seeing all these bar charts and all those things, yes, you can do that. So let's go back here, and that's within Excel. So let's go to welcome to Excel, like is welcoming us to this environment. So just select it and just create. Yes, and it's asking you take a tour. So like we all know, Excel, once you launch your Excel, this is your first interface. And what you have here is your file where once you're saving it, everything. And apologies, people always tell me I always jump. So please, if you feel I'm too fast, just let me know. And if you feel what I'm discussing is advanced, you can just call me back. So because we promised it will be as foundational as possible. So yes. So now the first thing you will see on your own page, you have all the formattings, the font, the alignment, the text alignment, then your general, that's your number formatting. If you open this place, you can see if you want to convert a column to number, currency, accounting, short date, all these are data types. Yes, in analytics. Then we have conditional formatting. All these places, we'll still be visiting them one after the other, but this is just a general overview. Then on your ribbon, you have this insert pivot table, a very powerful tool that is used. This is, will I say, the foundation of all data analytics, because for any kind of visualization you're developing in Excel, most of the time you always use this guy. So we'll be discussing it. Then we understand that you want to make your dashboard or maybe presentation in Excel very beautiful. Then you have your picture, so you can import pictures. You can bring it to your Excel environment, just like you have it in Word and PowerPoint. And you have different shapes and you have icons. So these, your icons, you can select icons to make your visualization maybe to make more sense. For example, if I want to say anything around cash, I can come here and pick cash icon and say maybe total revenue and use it on my dashboard. So you can see all these things are within your Excel environment. So that's the insert. And we have your chart. So it means if you're doing anything around visualization, you'll be using a lot of these insert tools. You can see your line chart, your column chart, your slicer, your equation for mathematicians here and statisticians, your equations, your symbols, you have it under the insert. Yes, then we have the draw, which is just like a marker. You can use it to do specific, make some specific sign on your Excel. So so you can draw things if you have that patience, right? So you can do that. Then page layout. So this is where you design how you want your interface to look like. And you can also order things. So you can align this alignment. You can bring item forward or backward, but all these things are around design. Then for our mathematicians, we have formula sessions that have all the functions based on categories in Excel. So I know, let me see so these are financial functions. So you can have price, PV, all those things, rates, and all those things. So if you say you know how to use Excel, at least all these functions, you should have it at the back of your mind, because Excel is beyond the rows and columns, right? And these are logical tests that you can do in Excel. These are text functions. So you can see clean, concat, find. That's we'll be using find space, all those things. It will be coming later. Right, left, length, all those things. Yes, they are under the text functions. And you have your date time, then you have your lookup reference, right? This is where you see your H lookup, your V lookup, all those things. So all those functions that you're calling, there is a place like a book, like how will I put it? Like a repository for all these functions within Excel, and everything is under formulas. Then for mathematicians, for your trigonometric functions, yes, you have everything here. Then we have more functions. These are, and to my people, statisticians, so you have all these functions. And it's so funny, initially when I started using Excel, these were all my focus, because I studied statistics, and one shocking thing happened. I went for my first interview after my learning, and they asked me, can you rate yourself in the use of Excel between 1 to 10? And I said, oh, wow. Yeah, because prior to that time, I've been using Excel to do projects. So I said, give me 8 over 10. And the person asked me, do you know the function called VLOOKUP? That was my first time of hearing VLOOKUP. Somebody said, Sean, you don't know anything. Yes, I agree. I understand, because I was so focused on this function. These are statistical functions, and you won't see anything like VLOOKUP. So I felt with all these functions, I'm good to go with Excel. But eventually, uh, I won't say the person was wicked, but at least the person drive me to start learning around those things. And thank God for today. Then we have your naming and all those things. Then we have calculations, and all these guys are there. Then we have data. This is where your responsibility as a data analyst sits majorly, because you want to do data cleaning, data preparation, data transformation. You want to get data from different sources. And within this place, this is where you have your data model. You have your Power Pivot, yes, which is like a data model. This is like building relationship within Excel. Then you want to get data from various sources, right? Here with this guy, you can connect to your flat file, you can connect to your databases, you can connect to Azure, which is SQL, Microsoft Cloud environment. You can connect to online services, SharePoint and the likes, then other sources. And you can combine queries, merge, append, all those things. And you can see that this thing is, so this session, especially Power Query, is an entire solution embedded within Excel. And that same Power Query, you will see it in Power BI. So if you learn it in Excel, it will be a walkover for you in Power BI. Because and okay, maybe when we get to the main worksheet, at least you will see the limitations of Excel. So, but the guy is very powerful. Then we have your review, which is your spell checker, all those things. Then you can protect your workbook if you don't want them to access some things. Then you have your views, which is your freeze pane, all those things, so that when you're doing your analytics, at least everything is in proper formatting. Then you have your automate, which is you record an action and this guy will automatically perform it on your behalf. Yes, so I think that's even new. Then you have your help, then you have your this one is working with Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Reader. Then there is another one which is the developer tools. We will be activating it later, but let me just show you. So if you go to options, then you can go to the headings now, or you can go to I want to, so but at least we okay.
Customize ribbon.
Customize ribbon. Yes, customize ribbon. And this is the guy sitting here. So I want to activate it now. And the reason for that is this guy has its own tools and all those things. Yes, separately. But you can see just to go to other Excel options, and you can see there are further things that you can do with Excel that is not out of the box. So I think, yes, with that, we've been able to, you can see, we've been able to navigate through majority of the things we have in the ribbon. So we just go back to our home page. And here, remember, I'm using the Excel file provided by Microsoft. So here, they're just telling you that you can take 10 steps and you will know what to do with Excel. So if you go in here, the first thing, so funny that because these people, they jump straight into tasks. So I will be creating a new worksheet separately, and let's start with this. Yes, whenever it comes to anything that have to do with relational database or data set, rows and columns are very important. And that's the basis. So you know that, okay, what we are saying is a worksheet. What we have opened is called a workbook. And the reason why it's that important is that even if you understand this basic concept about Excel, when you're working with databases, it will be a walkover for you, because your workbook in Excel is the same thing as what we call a database in in SQL. And your worksheet is the same thing as what we call tables when you're dealing with database. So the understanding is that within a workbook, you have a worksheet, right? So in the database world, they can call that workbook, they can call it a database. And when you go to some advanced database, such as Snowflakes, they can call it, you can have database schema, then you can have schema, database, then tables. But if you go to Microsoft SQL, MySQL, they call both schema and database the same thing. Then within them, you now have tables. So that thing is still there. So if you can understand the way rows and columns work in Excel, then it means when they are talking about databases or tables within the database, at least you have a simple thing to map it to, right? And just have it at the back of your mind that if I tell you that go to cell A2, just know that the first thing you have is your column, and the second, the alphabet is your column, and the number is your row. They didn't follow the principle of mathematics, which is row and column, but they do column and row. So if I tell you go to cell D6, just know that what I want you to do is to go to column D, row 6, and this is the cell. This is the point. And if you're checking here, you'll be able to see that name, right? You'll be able to see the name of cell D6. And one beautiful thing about this guy is um I can put 90 here. No. I can come here, I can put 90 here. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. Seems I can come here and change the name and say value, val1. Okay, no. So, but the main thing is I can rename this guy. So it's still showing this is, but I can rename the value. I can rename the value within this guy, but at least that will be later. But you can reference this value here, sitting here. I can come here and say this guy equals my word. my D6, and it will send the value from here to this place. So that's cell referencing, right? And the main thing about Excel is that just think where you want to put your data. For example, let's think we are in a school now. So you can have student and you have the score. And let me look at the name of people that we have here. Let me use Fidelis. Then we have Aisha. You can see, you understand? Then that's inputting your values within Excel. Then you can have their score because everybody is brilliant. Everybody is just scoring 100. You understand? And that's it. And with this, you can start developing your data set. Yes. Do we have any question? Let me pause. Let me take a breath, beat. Very simple, right? All right, good. So if we all understand that, then the next thing now is that once you have these values, what are the things you can do with them in Excel? And that is where your functions comes in. That is where your filling comes in. That is where your splitting, your data transpose, your data sorting, your tables, and your drop down. And let's just go through what Excel have made available for us. So from here, it can take us to other resources that we can learn Excel from. So first, because we know in life we sum things up, like addition is very important. And that's why we're looking at addition first. You can see from here, we have dived into what? Functions. So imagine I don't know anything about Excel, but I have the opportunity to understand reading. Then with this guy, I can guide myself through learning Excel. So the first thing is telling you that what this is how to add up numbers in Excel. So the first thing is telling you you have your fruit, then you have the amount. So what should you do? Just come to this cell and type this guy, sum D4 to D7. So just come here, just type sum, right? I will just say D4 to D7. That's me highlighting it. So I selected the first one, left click and drag down. So once you drag down, close the bracket, and that gives you the sum of your values. Very simple and direct, right? So, but the main thing is that for you to use functions within the cell, you need to bring up your equal sign first. So if I want to do this now without saying it, this is the one that we use to confirm that, okay, I've learned how to sum up value in Excel. I'll just put equal to sum. Yes, I always use tab to complete my text. The moment I see that it's bringing what I want to see first, I will just highlight and close it up. So these two are very fine, then I'm good. But it's now telling us that now we can go to the next function, which is what? Sum if. You can see now I've used the basic sum, but the next one is a sum with condition. And that's what we call what? Sum if, right? Now, so we've moved from just imputing data. Now we are doing some calculations on the data set. Now we are doing a conditional calculation on the data set. And that's what your sum if is telling you. So this one is telling you that add these guys together if they are greater than 50. So that's the condition. So you just say equals to sum if in this case. So that's the condition. If, then you select the cells you are interested in, right? That's the range of value. But you need to double quote greater than, because how will I say it? Anything you double quote in Excel is being seen like a text. And the reason for this is because of the greater than sign. So I can say greater than 50, then I can close the bracket and put and click enter. And if you look at your data set, you can see that this is 50, this is 50. 50 is not greater than 50, but 100 is greater than 50. But they gave you another example and say sum if the amount is less than 100, and it's telling you that the result should be 160. So this is where you test your understanding. You just say equals sum if, right? Then the range of value. And also one thing I would like you to put at the back of your mind is the suggestions from Excel. So telling you that if you just know the function you want to use, you don't even have to cram how it works. Just know that, okay, I want to use sum if and use as expected. All right. So if I come here and I say, okay, the range of value. So he's asking you for the range of value. Then he's asking you for the criteria, right? For the criteria for summing. So then you just put the criteria less than 100, right? And double quotes and close bracket, right? And click enter. And you can see you have 160 and 160. A real life experience around function. Excel showed me in this life. So I went for an interview with Farmic. I think that time want to be like their analyst. So they gave me numbers, give you a set of numbers. For example, let's say we have 50 and we have 60. And they ask you, can you calculate the average? Can you get the average of these numbers? Oh, somebody is looking at it that AVG, very simple. Yes, but that time, fresh graduate from statistics, you will not think of AVG. You will think sum of number divided by count of number. Because in our head, we have this formula, which is what? Sum I equals 1 to n of xi divided by what? N. A formula. Because that's the formula for mean and for average. So I just say, this is very simple now. So I looked at it, I said equals sum. I was right. And it's just that I didn't use the expected formula. So I put sum, right? And I did count. And I did equals count. And I did count of my values. No, not picking this, right? And I completed my task, which is what? Sum divided by this. I was so confident, so happy. Even I didn't remember count because I can see with my eyes that this is 4. So I put 4. The person now like walked to my formula and clicked on this result. I said, I got it. The person said, yes, you are very right. No, result wise, you have it, but your method was very wrong. And that was how I know the difference between you jumping up and down and using function. The person said that now with this your formula, if I mistakenly delete this value, this guy still gives me a result, but it is very wrong. And I told him, I said, then you come and change this guy back to 3. He said, that is the problem because you always have to come here and come and be editing things. And that's not professional, right? So a good method will have been where you are struggling to do sum, just save yourself the stress and use average. I said, boss, you'll have explained that one now. Why are you stressing a fresh graduate that need work? You understand? But it is what it is. So that's just telling you that learning these functions, even in your own free time, is very good. It's very good. And now we have more information around sum ifs and the likes, but because of our time, because there is a place I want to make sure I get to. So these are further explanation about sum if, and this is even showing you how to do it. And all these guys they come with their formulas, so you can look at them and say, okay, now you understand. But the understanding is that fine, you have a lot of things you can learn here, but you might be done here and you still want to learn more, right? Then they give you a link to a free Excel training online. And that's where we'll be going. And this is Microsoft repository for learning your Microsoft Excel. So this is like the beginning of everything. So with this, you can see introduction to Excel, right? So how to create a new workbook, how to insert worksheets, how to delete, how to move from one worksheet to another. So all you just need to do is to dedicate, maybe just say, okay, I want to focus on this guy. I want to make sure I round it up, I finish it. Go through everything you have here. And you can see for the ones that requires templates, yes, you can download a template and you can put all these things into practice. So if you want to know more about pivot table, you can download the template and you will be able to follow through. For example, if I open this now, it will download the worksheet and okay, this is downloading the worksheet and I can come to pivot table and open it up. Then it will show you, you can now follow through these instructions based on what you've downloaded. So I can come here and come to my downloads and you will see the file, right? So with this file, I can walk through that session. So you can see get one pivot table. This is their pivot table section and I can walk through it and understand pivot table while I'm learning with these stuffs online. Yes. So this is Microsoft resources for um, Excel. Yes, and you can see it's under the category of Microsoft 365. So with this, you can learn about your rows and columns. So if you want to see, really understand, so how to delete, how to insert, you understand. And for me, if I'm going through this one by one hour would not be sufficient for us to go through it. But just know that all you need is your internet and this thing is available. So just try. Uh, Once you have the Excel access, then you can go online and do and make use of all these resources that are available for you online. And like I mentioned initially, W3 School is also a very good platform where you can learn, right? Follow through the steps. And the only thing is, if you want to get certificate, you have to pay, right? But they are not charging you for learning. And you can see a lot of Excel functions that you can learn. And I think also I saw this resource online. It's also Excel help and learning. With this guy also, you can we can drop the link. Is also, if you go to get started, you will see it's the same thing as the one I showed you, right? Just getting started and all those things is the same thing, but it's just painted in a different way. And if you scroll down, you can see further resources on this page, and you can see list of Excel function. And even me, when I saw the list, I was a bit scared that how many how many of these functions have I mastered, like really. So you can see the function name, the description, the type, the descriptions, and if you click on any one of them, it's expected to take you to where they are being used. So you can see how to use it, and you can see the functions. So these are aggregate functions and the category and how to use them. Yes, so I think that's it. So the main thing is that there are a lot of resources out there that you can use to learn and bring yourself up to speed. Although for our session, now that we know all those resources, we can now come and say, okay, today, let's work on 2 or 3 functions. So, but at least by that time, um, you will have resources you can always go back to, and whatsoever you learn during the session, you can also make use of it. Yes, so I think that's it from me. Do we have any question? Any question?
Sure.
Yes,
Thank you
please.
so much. We still have some time. Can we
Yes.
look at hands-on on at a few of those functions as time will permit? We
Okay.
have looked at
Okay.
some right now.
Yeah.
Can we look at some more functions just to
Some more
encourage
function.
our people and get them so
People.
that they can get started?
All
Hands-on,
right.
show them how you
Yes.
do. Yeah, thank you.
Anton. All right. Thank you. Yes. So let's look at other functions in Excel that we can use. So let's see this second function. This one is telling us about how to fill down your cells automatically. And this one is useful when you're doing calculations and you don't want to be repeating what you're doing. So a good example is this one. If you come here and you see C4 plus D4, that's 50 plus 50, that's your 100. Previously, what some people will do, they can copy this, highlight down and paste. It will give you the result. And another method is you highlight this guy and use the shortcut, which is Control D. It duplicates what you've done on the first one and replicate it across board, right? And that's the fill aspect. And another method is you can click on this guy. You will see, I hope this one works. You will see this plus sign here. If you double click, I think, yes, it fills down. So imagine you have 10 million records you want to fill. So you can see there is a lot of ways to do it. So you can double click, you can do copy and highlight the cell, paste, and which other thing you can use Control D, which is like Control duplicate. So you're duplicating the function across board. Then these other ones too is just doing some E4 to F4, which is this plus this. So what you can do, just highlight and press your Control D, and the guy complete the calculation itself, right? And you can, any method that works for you, right? So that is summing, filling downward. So because you're doing some. And for me, I always tell people, anything you're doing in Excel, and you have to do it twice, you are wrong. And the meaning of that is, if I'm doing a calculation, the moment the first one is right, yes, I know I can move up, I can move on, right? But there is a caveat here. Let me, because for more hands-on, let that from here, we can, let me copy this, their table, because of our time, I don't want to be, we can paste this here, right? Let's assume this plus this, they gave us here. They just say, oh, once you get your result, add this to it. The meaning of it is add 75, and we don't have this column, right? But I want to perform this function. And now that I've learned um, double click, I'm so happy. So if I come here and I say, okay, so the answer will be this, sum, and I hope our sum, we know that our sum is not every time you go across a range of value. So this is a good example whereby you're summing, whereby your values are sitting in different places. So you can delete this, select this guy. I'm summing this value. You can see even in the sum function, what we have is what, comma. Is when you're doing it within a range of value, that's when you use your semicolon. So you can come here and put comma. So he's expecting the second number. You can select the second number and click enter. This gives you 175. You are so happy. You now remember that Sean in the training mentioned that once you have it once, you can double click. Once you double click, this that you've done is very wrong. Because in this case, if you notice, this guy is doing D12 plus D10, right? Now, this next guy is now doing D13 plus D11. Is that what you want to do? No. And this guy is doing D14 plus D12 because it follows the pattern that you used initially. And this is what makes us to remember there is something that they call self-fixing. So the meaning of self-fixing is that this is my reference cell. I want all my other calculation to consider only these cells. And when I'm moving down, I don't want my calculation to move down with me. So what that simply means is that in this case, I want all my further calculation to only reference cell D10. So I will fix this by adding $sign at the beginning of the column and the row. So the meaning of this, with this $sign, any further calculation I'm doing, it will keep referencing that other guy. So if I click this, enter, then here I can double click and my result will be right. Because now everybody keeps going back to where? D10. Is that a question? Right? Everyone keeps referring to what? D10. So that's just by the side. But we've seen the power of our field, but the field is good when you are sure that the values you're using are in accordance to what you want to do. So if the values is jumping, just know that if the value is fixed, yes, you need to fix it. If the value is moving, yes, move with the value. So that's just by the side. Yeah. Do we have any question? All right. So now, go ahead. Okay. So now, there is another tax here, which is just sum. So you're summing, we filled downward. So you can also do it column wise. We can do it row wise by just highlighting and pulling it to the direction you want. The guy automatically do the calculation, right? Let me see if I don't think if you double click it will not, because this double click only goes down, I think. So this one you have to pull, or you highlight and press Control D. That should no, the Control D is not working. Well, so because but I know if you copy and highlight this guy, it works because you are copying the formula and you're pasting it across board. So anyone that you're able to do, that works for you. Yes, but you can understand that this is because we are doing calculations. There are some fields that, especially when it comes to date, the guy can do do incremental date for you. And for example, if I put today's date and I say 26/04 2024, right? If I come here and I drag down, is it increasing? Yes, it will increase, right? You can see it's adding day. But if I don't want it to increase, I can just copy and paste. Everybody sits the same. Yes. So that's that. And if I come here, because I'm dealing with text, these are strings. This guy that is not doing any calculation. So if I double click, it just fill it down. If I come to fruit, fruit is fruit, it just fills it down. So there is nothing, it won't do any further calculations. But here, because I have week 1, if I come here and I double click, it's because of that number, it's able to see that, okay, I'm doing it incrementally, right? So that's why it's filling it down automatically for me. Then if I come to month, so if I drag, the guy automatically increases it by itself. So I don't have to stress myself around that. And so you've seen, so that's the fill function. So filling automatically itself by me just dragging and doing all those things. So the main thing is you have what you want to do, but you're just using Excel to make it faster. All right, so you can click on this guy. Next step, it takes you to the next page. And this one, what this one is just showing you is how Excel is learning from the pattern of what you're doing. For example, if Excel notice that I come to this first name, you can see it's called split, right? Split. Now, if I type Nancy here, Nancy, and I click enter, the guy automatically sees what's it called, that I've extracted Nancy, right? But I was expecting that, okay, by the time I start the second name, it will give me suggestion. Can you see? The moment I type A of the second name, the guy say, oh, you want to extract first name. Okay, let me help you. Then if that is what I want to do, I can press enter. The guy automatically fills it. Does that make sense? And the same thing, because I've typed Smith here already, they have typed Smith being the surname. The moment I come here and I say, I can use Control here, I think. Yes. Control E, we automatically, without me even typing anything, so we automatically see that, okay, the first pattern was, so who can tell me this one is like generative AI? Is AI in one way or the other? Because it was able to identify the pattern from the first one, then the guy is able to generate other ones, right? This one is just based on patterns. And that's what all this AI is about. So now this guy is very powerful. And the reason why we'll be talking about this is because of our time. And that is using text split. If you are into all these web scraping things, you will know that sometimes when you scrape your data set, it comes as a JSON file, and JSON file is being separated by semicolon. And in this case, your text are being separated by comma. So, and remember, we are dealing with splitting. So what you can do is you can look at this value, highlight it, and you can use text to column to split it, right? And your text to column is a function under your data. Just go to text to column, select text to column. We'll still dive in deeper some other time, but this text to column can be a lifesaver. Hence, you will have to sit with your Excel and be extracting this thing one by one, and you'll be sweating. We ask you, what are you doing? Our boss has given me one serious tax. Imagine you have 1 million records. So if you go to next, it asks you for the kind of delimiter you want to use. So you select comma, then it shows you a sample of how your data set will look like. If you're satisfied with it, you can say okay. And if you have other stuff, maybe semicolon, maybe even hyphen or anything, you can put it under others. So it will also see it. So just click next, and it's telling you where is the destination. This is very important. If you use C32, which is where it is currently, that's this first cell, it will overwrite your data and replace it with some values. But here, I want it to start from D32, right? So it can start from where I expect my first name to be. Then it can fill up other things. I can click finish. Then it fills it up automatically. Then you can see that, okay, now you have Nancy Smith, Console Limited. Then you have Andy North, right? Fabricant and the likes. And that's how your field works. Yes, that's so. Let me pause here, and maybe in your own free time, make sure you touch this. This guy is a complex function, but it's function within function. Nothing much. It's just for you to understand left, right, length, find. Then you'll be able to split your records. And you can easily use text. You can use text split, right? Such that you can split by space. So if you split by space, it will save you all distress, right? So this is just showing you that um, sometimes it's important to know all the shortcuts. Yes, and we've spent 2 minutes extra, and apologies for that. Yes, do we have any question? Edri, can I pause now?
Yes, Prof.
All right.
Thank you very much. Any question?
I can
Leke,
see
Leke has
Leke's
it. Yeah.
hand. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jiri, and I'm just,
Sure.
I'm trying
Sure is
to,
fine.
my phone is misbehaving. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Shion.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I just want to ask that these functions, because there's some of the functions that look quite familiar with what I've seen before in Power BI. Like this split, yeah, it looks like something like is it separate by delimiter or something? I'm trying to
Delimiter,
type there.
delimiter. Yes, you're right. You're right. And
It
I
look
hope
quite,
you know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and it look quite simpler here, the way you did it. Because the last time I tried to do it in Power BI, it wasn't as
Simple.
simple as this. Yeah. So in a case whereby you want to split a column, will you recommend that instead of doing rather than doing it in Power BI, we recommend that you just go to Excel and do it, and then before you import your data.
It depends on the source of your data set. If your data set is from Excel, I will recommend splitting Excel before you go. But if your data source is a database that you connect directly to Power BI, you will have to go through that stress in Power BI. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
You
And
understand?
second,
Go ahead.
so what is the difference between count and sum?
Okay.
Count and sum.
Okay. Is it count and sum or count and count A? Because sum directly, I'm summing things. 1 plus 1.
Yeah,
1
yeah,
plus
yeah,
1. Like the example I gave you. In this case,
yeah.
if I come here, let me put my value here, right? If I do sum means just add 100 plus, you understand? That's
Yeah.
sum. But count here is saying how many values do you have within this space,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you.
And that one is counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's and I know that there is another one that is even me, I always get confused. But what I always do is I will use it. If I use it, if it's making sense, and that's count A. So the guy also work like count, but I think count A we ignore space. So if I do equals count, if I do count here to here, right? This will give me 4. Or if I come and I say count A, initially they will give the same answer, right? Which is 4, 4. Or if I delete, they are still giving the same thing. So I don't know, but I shall know that they are different. So, but to some extent, some people advise that you should stick to count A because I think there are some things it can handle, but maybe when we get to the function, I'll be able to differentiate further. But I shall know they are different.
Thank
And
you very much.
yes,
It's
yes.
clear because I've seen. I was watching a video and I saw a similar thing. They use sum and they use
Mhm.
count, and the count in that instance still perform similar function as the
As
sum.
some,
Yeah, and
oh,
I didn't quite see it clearly because it's
okay,
a large data set, so I didn't know
let
what
me
they were
show.
doing. It's just like a product, how many was ordered by different people like that, and then so I
Exactly.
think it counted what Mr. A ordered and gave kind of a sum, a total of what Mr. A ordered. So it makes a lot of sense now. I understand
So,
what they did. Sum
yeah.
is
So,
adding up. Thank you
so,
very much.
but in that example that you used, if all their order is 111, in this case, your sum will be equal to your count. Does that make sense? That's
Yes.
why some people can use them like, because in this case, everything is 111. So sum of ones is 4. Count of ones is also 4. So that's the case, but it's a rare case. So what I will advise, if you know what you want to do, if you are summing, use sum. If you're doing um, count, use count. And there is another powerful function, which is subtotal. That one, we'll be discussing it later, but at least it's like all encompassing function in Excel. You can use it for sum, count, and you use it a lot as a data analyst because sometimes we want to filter our records. And that one, if you're filtering record and you don't know how to use subtotal, you will be sweating a lot. So they can say, okay, filter for Lagos branch, filter for Ibadan branch, and you just be filtering, you'll be jumping up and down, you'll be summing, you'll be counting up. But that subtotal can really, really save you some stress. All right, so that's it. Any other Aishat, your hand is up. Aishat, you have the floor.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yesterday I was trying to solve an equation. I was trying to
Okay,
solve a problem,
all
and
right.
that there was a function you showed us where you need to add dollar sign to the front
Okay.
and the back of the cell number. I used it and it didn't work for me.
Oh, okay. So you want to fix it, right? There is another way you can fix. Apart from using dollar sign, but me, I always recommend dollar sign because that's what it's doing. And that's using F4. So if I put 5 here and I want to always refer to this guy, right? I can highlight this guy. Is it F4 or F3? And press F4. That's function. The guy muted my mic. Okay. The moment you press F4, it automatically assigns that dollar to that cell, right? So you can either do $4 or do you either do either do F4 on your laptop, or you put the dollar sign
F4 as a key.
as a key. Yes, F4 as a key.
On my laptop, when I
What do you
press it,
say?
increasing the F4 as a key on my laptop. When I pressed it, was just increasing the brightness of my laptop.
Oh, good. So it means but what you can do in that case is you can now do function F4. So there is function key after control. That's Fn. So you can do that one too and press F4, that F4 again. So then that one might work as your function key. That one works, right? Yes, because the configuration of laptop keys. Yeah. Okay. But the configurations of laptop are different. But what I would recommend, even if that one is not working, just use the dollar sign because they are doing the same thing. That one is just a shortcut. Just shift 4 on my own system. So I don't know what key is working for you on your own system.
Okay, I will try it. If it doesn't work, can I screenshot and send it to you on WhatsApp?
Yes, please do. Please do. Please do.
Okay.
I will
All right, thank you so
gladly.
much.
All right, you're welcome. Yes, any other question? All right, no more question. I hope you've been able to learn one or two things. Remember, it's an introduction to Excel. So we are still introducing ourselves. So with time, I hope we'll get to the level where we can use Python on Excel. That's even what I'm looking forward to. Yes, but let's take it one step at a time. All right, thank you, thank you. That's all from me.